What is cracking, everybody? Thank you so much, you guys, for being patient, hanging out. It's your boy Ham Solo here, back with another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with with my boy Ramrod Jenkins here today. Oh man, this is an exciting guest because I've been waiting to get him on, and I tell you what, he can attest to that. Me and him have went back and forth for quite some time about times and whatnot. And since I book sometimes a month or two in advance, like things can fall through the cracks and whatnot. And sometimes it takes me a while to get back to somebody if we miss our opportunity prior or something like that. But I'm super duper happy to get him here. Really upstanding individual that one of our people in the chat, one of my actual members, would shout out to you guys, you members out there. Shout out to you guys because you guys are helping me grow. I really appreciate you guys. You guys mean so much to this channel. Thank you so much. A lot of you guys were there from the day one, and those of you that came along throughout some of the struggle, I appreciate y'all too. I don't discriminate. I appreciate anybody that's coming through just to give me some of their time of the day because I know how precious time is. But my brother Blind Giant, brother from Mr. Hawaii out there, right? With the Talk Story podcast. We got a couple of them brothers up in the chat right now, too big as well. Like he's the one that referred me to Ramrod Jenkins, and I already know the pedigree and whatnot that Talk Story has. Like they have a really respected group of folks. Really genuine, nice people, willing to talk, whatever, BS, have a good time, whatever, just laid back, chill people. And when I heard that one of them brothers was telling me about this gentleman right here, Mr. Ramrod Jenkins, I was like, yo, they don't hit me up and tell me to check out people very often. You hear me, Ramrod? Like they don't hit me up and tell me to do that very often. So when I hear something like that from somebody, you know, Cozy, a buddy of my one of my buddies, Cozy Beluga, which he's on channel every Friday with us on the show called Bullsitting, which I'd love to get you on sometimes. It's just a panel of us. It's just a panel of us just talking, having fun, just BS, and then talking about just the news that's kind of going on within gaming, and just how you know it's just a good time, just a lot of BS going on. That's why it's called bullshit. But awesome. but anyways, yeah, when somebody hits me up and they're like, "Yo, like you should hit this person up," I take that serious. Right. I'm like, oh, they're going out of their way to tell me to holler at somebody else. You know, I mean, I mean, think about that in a sense of a job or something like that. When somebody refers somebody to a job, it's like, yo, like they actually went out of their way to say something. So who am I to sit on it? Right. I got to see what it's all about. So I dug into some of the content that you did. I was incorrect earlier. I asked you if you were a teacher and you're like, no, I ain't no teacher. I'm like the police guy that's in school. And I was like, I know you suckers. I know you guys, man, because there's two kinds of the officers that hang out in the schools. There's the cool ones that everybody knows and loves. And then there's just the ones that everyone hates. There's no in between. You are either loved or you are just frowned upon. And even if you're loved, you're still frowned upon by some. You are, just because of the occupation that you hold. Yeah, so, for sure. So to hear that, you do that, but at the same time, you're a streamer and you've had people from your school come into your stream and watch the stuff that you do. And I'm just like, bro, that is amazing. It's cool to be able to have that level of outreach, because I remember that officer in my school. Mm-hmm. He was a prior football player for the University of Nebraska, and he was one of the big dogs out there. Dang. Right? Okay. And his brother was actually um like it was Roger Craig. It was Mr.
Oh,
Craig, and Roger Craig played for the 49ers.
yeah.
Big time Super Bowl champion running back. His little brother was our officer at the school at Southeast,
Oh,
because
man.
they both went to Southeast, so it was kind of like a trickle down, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like everybody kind of ended up there. Who's gonna be the next big star? Like freaking Friday Night Lights kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's Midwest, right? That's football in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves it more than they probably should, which is fine because I'm in that category as well. I love it more than I probably should. But we all loved that officer guy. He knew me. He knew my brother. You know what I mean? My brother went to Notre Dame. He was a Gatorade Player of the Year, and then went on to play for Notre Dame. And I was, the little brother that was, frowned upon a little bit because why did your brother go to Notre Dame instead of Nebraska? Like, I was that kid that had to hear that BS. So just seeing what you do gave me a lot of memories, gave me a lot of feels.
Oh, yeah.
And hearing that and whatnot. But thank you so much for coming to the show today, man. It is,
Yeah, dude.
like I said, an absolute pleasure. What I want you to do first, for those that don't know you or maybe have heard of you but don't really know how to find you, I want you to go on ahead and let everybody know where they can check you out at, whether it's on, some social media or YouTube. Like just going ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. And just in case you need buttons to click because it's easier, his information is down in the description as well. But please, brother, announce yourself.
All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Ramrod, and pretty new to the streaming content creation journey. I only started that in September of last year in 2022. So started off on Twitch and did that for just a little bit, and then after Twitch, I did YouTube almost exclusively for, I would say, 7 months or so, and then I went back to Twitch and started doing more streaming, and now I'm actually on Kick. So I've been streaming mostly on Kick, really loving that. That's probably where you're going to find me the most. And then on top of that, I've got Twitter and Instagram and TikTok that I'm always posting stuff up on, and pretty easy to find me because I haven't ran into any other Ramrod Jenkinses. So if you type that in, you're probably gonna find me.
That I mean, that's pretty nice. That's pretty easy to figure out. So Kick is where you do majority of the stuff. I gotta ask. Gotta ask because I've heard it too much.
Okay.
And I've heard it too much, but I haven't heard any like buddy's particular opinion that was really tied up into Twitch. Like you were really into Twitch, right?
Yeah, in the set when I come back from YouTube and went back to Twitch, I was streaming almost every day. I just found that with YouTube, I do the YouTube shorts, and I was doing some long form content, but at the same time, streaming games on YouTube, it just wasn't quite the same experience as, say, Twitch or Kick. A lot of times YouTube was it was hard to kind of get discovered in the game streaming side of things. Not so much, long form content and things like that, but just to stream a game, it was harder to meet new people. So that's why I decided to kind of dive back
into. People look into YouTube more as like a search engine to find something to help their issue or to learn something. Like if you're like the news is like YouTube now. What happened yesterday on the Clippers game or the Chiefs or the 49er game or whatever, right? What's going on in gaming or what's going on at the White House. Like YouTube
it's so much like
how
news.
To fix my brakes.
Yeah, it's news, it's highlights, and it's how-tos. Like it's like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Or it's news or it's highlights. Or if gaming, like kind of what we are, and a lot of us are, it's, gaming news, upcoming games, developer news. It's so few and far between to actually get on there to watch a gamer stream.
Absolutely, absolutely. But before we go any further, I just want to give out the respect to those of you that are members and also those of you that I've seen for the first time in the chat. Yes, I want to point out to those of you as well because, as I said earlier, just the fact that you guys are spending some time, whether you came here because of me or Mr. Ramrod Jenkins here, I'm appreciative of all of it. And I'm sure he's very appreciative of it as well. But just to shout out the members first and foremost, because, they pay money. Mr. Sir X Man, thank you so much. Ray Chi, Jacob Novick, Silent Cypher, Matt Likes Games, Blind Giant 808, Too Big, Just Mel, and I believe that's it. I just literally opened up my membership last Friday, and just to have already almost 10 different members is freaking amazing. That's
awesome, man.
It's wild to me. It's still pretty nuts. But also I want to shout out those of you that I'm seeing here for the first time. So is it Brodicious, I believe.
We just call him Brody.
Brody. Okay, Brodicious. Okay, got it. It's Brodicious. 7 Down. Let's see, G Dog. Good to see you. And I think I'm all caught up. Welcome in, Boogeyman. I see you just pulling up just now. Good to see you as well. But anyways, all right. So let's get into it. Let's get into the business. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up, if you're new here, what I like to do is talk about the history of the people that I have on for the evening, and then also just kind of ask them questions that kind of point to what they're looking forward to, what they're excited for, and shout out to Boogeyman joining the memberships just now.
Let's go.
That is what's up. Thank you. He joins the Get Taste membership level. That is awesome. Fantastic. Brother's got some taste. All right. All right. So, I mean, I love being able to say that. Got some taste. It's what's up. But anyways, let's keep it moving. So the first thing I really wanted to ask you, and I asked you before we got started just a little bit ago, I was like, yo, bro, I asked this to everybody, which I do. What was the very first console that you ever had like readily available to you in the house? And bro hit me with an absolute classic. I want to see if somebody in the chat can figure it out right away, because I mean, it takes 2 seconds of just looking right there and you see it right where I'm supposed to be on the screen. You probably recognize that actor too. That actor is super. He's been around for quite some time. I'm not sure if you guys recognize him, but he's been around. But just to kind of move it along, the SNES, brother. Brother said the SNES was his first console that he had available. Let's talk about it real quick. What was that all about, bruh?
I actually have an older brother, and he's quite a bit older than me, so he actually had the NES, but that was a little before my time. I can remember just vaguely playing like Duck Hunt and a couple of games, but when he got the SNES and we were kind of sharing it and we were playing it, I can remember playing Mario Kart. I can remember playing Zelda. I can remember playing I think the thing that he and I played the most of was always Mario Brothers and Mario Kart. That was always the classic go-tos, and then from there, man, it just went on. Nintendo always hitting you with Zelda and Mario, and then later on Pokemon. So they always had like those hard-hitting games that kind of sucked me in right away, and that's kind of where the gaming began for me.
Man, okay. That's fantastic. I'm sorry. I'm a little choked up real quick. right now because Brody came in sending shots. He came in sending shots, and he joined he got himself some taste as well. He got
Hey,
himself some
Brody.
taste. So I really appreciate it, Brody. Thank you so much. Welcome to TSWS Game. But anyways, brother, that sounds like a special time in your life because look at you now.
Yeah.
Look at you now. So what I want to ask you real quick is to describe some of the gaming moments that you remember really kicking off for you real hard. Like what was one of them that you can kind of visualize today and be like, man, this sucker right here was slapping. Like when I got home from school, or like when I got home from summer camp or whatever, it was just like it was a game that just didn't get ejected. It did not. I did not hit that center button to eject it. It stayed in for a hot minute. What was it?
Oh my goodness, dude. With the memories, me and my brothers were all real competitive. So anytime that we were playing like Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, it was a competition. I mean, it was fun, but it was like we want to win. And then so as I got a little bit older, it started shifting into I did play a lot of Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time. But if I had to say there was one game that I could never stop playing, and to this day, I couldn't tell you how many times I beat it. It's the original Final Fantasy VII. That game has been my all-time favorite game that I've ever played.
So we're going back to OG PlayStation Jenkins. Is that what we're doing right now? PlayStation Jenkins. Shout out to Too Big in the chat. He said $2 super chat, Nintendo Master Race. Oh Lord. Too Big. I mean, I wish you would have held on to that just for a second because Mr. Ramrod Jenkins over here is saying the PlayStation is what got him. It wasn't no cartridge. It wasn't the cartridge. It was the compact disc.
But I'll say though, like, hey, I get it, Big. I mean, listen, Nintendo will always have a special place, if not the number one place in my heart. Because if I would have never sit down with my brother and throw down on some Mario or Zelda, I don't know if I would have ever turned out to be as big of a gamer, To me, that foundation was always Nintendo.
So let's take it back to the original question that was at hand, because Nelson's right. He said that's the wrong system, because I was asking specifically about the NES.
Yeah.
What was that game for the NES or SNES? I'm sorry.
It's always Mario Kart.
So always. The old classic big, like the track is 10 times bigger than your character kind of Mario.
I don't know how many days and nights we played that game and just trying to beat each other. And of course, he was older than me, so he won most of the time. But still, I was so competitive. I hated to lose. Every time I'd lose, I'd be like, all right, let's race another cup, And so we would just race all the time. But that was probably the sentimental game of like me getting into gaming as far as memories go.
So so it's all tied back to that Super Nintendo. Fantastic. I'll tell you what, I was on the rival console with my brother. And he is 13 years older than me, might I add. He's 13 years older than me. So when I was 5, he was 18, right?
Yeah.
And we were playing the Sega Genesis.
Okay.
And it was Bill Walsh football and Madden 95.
Yep.
Those games right there were the staple. That is what allowed me to yell at my brother with him being that old and him not put me in a headlock or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I imagine he wanted to, but he was too busy holding the sticks to actually,
Right.
because he didn't want to put me in a headlock and then have me running down the field.
Yeah.
but anyways, fantastic. Love to hear the memories, but let's talk about a little bit of the evolution of
Okay.
gaming. So you kind of touched upon it just a moment ago when you were talking about the original PlayStation and how that Final Fantasy kind of got to you. Let me go on ahead and rewind back to the Super Nintendo and kind of work my way up to that moment. Um, so after the Super Nintendo was gone, it sounded like you said you had an N64. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep. That was the next console after the SNES. I remember I got a Nintendo 64 for Christmas, and I remember specifically it came packaged with Super Mario 64. It come bundled with the console, and I can remember spending I mean absolutely countless hours in Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. Those two games I absolutely wore out.
Shout out to Brody in the chat. He said EverQuest on PC made me a gamer for life. And then he accidentally sent it twice. so I apologize for that, Brody. Maybe it's just my I don't know. Maybe it was yo issue. Maybe it was my I don't know. I don't know. Something happened. But anyways, Too Big also came through and says, "Why all the older siblings the same? No mercy."
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, no mercy. If you got mercy, I mean, we didn't as youngins, as younger brothers, we didn't accept mercy.
Right.
Mercy was not happening. There was no way, because I wanted to run upstairs, or the next time your boys came through, I wanted to tell your other 18-year-old buddies that I just whooped your ass. I just did that. And if they want some, they can come get it too.
Yep. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was. It was no mercy. I didn't want them to give me any mercy because I knew I wasn't going to give them any mercy.
Yeah. And my older brother is similar to you. My older brother's 10 years older than me. So he oftentimes, man, there was no mercy. It was me just getting trashed all the time.
I like bro. I like Brody. He's a good dude. he's like he said double double the love for EQ. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. He said he was cool with it. Shout out to Ray Chi. Good to see you up in here, bro. He says two most memorable moments in gaming: Link taking a sword out, and then number two, Sephiroth sticking a sword in. Oh damn!
Yeah.
The way he described that was so juicy that I had to read it. I was like, Link taking the sword out and Sephiroth putting the sword in.
Hey, two iconic moments right there. Holy cow.
Man, I feel like I'm supposed to say pause after that moment. Like I just don't know. but anyways, moving along, brother. Moving along. So 64, big deal for you. Love that console. I think everybody loved that console that got the opportunity to play it. It was so good. Blind Giant with the $5 super chat says, two of my homies and two of my favorite content creators. This is going to be a banger of a show. Been waiting for this since Ham told me about it. Man, man. You've been waiting a long time. Yes, you have, Blind Giant. And I'm happy to, it's my pleasure to bring forth fantastic, or what I believe is a fantastic episode. And I think you guys can agree. Really happy to have you here, bro. Good people. I love talking to good people. Especially when we don't have to like beat around the bush, or you have to be like, I kind of troll a little bit, but I'm really a good person. No, you're just a good person. That's nice, because sometimes I do have people that like to troll on the show as well. Sometimes it goes smooth. Sometimes it's a friendly argument. I never get into disrespectful arguments on here. I will cut the stream off because I don't want to I don't want to put that kind of energy out on my channel.
Yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? But if we want to have a disagreement that we could both, just at the end of the day, just be like, we respectfully disagree, and
Right.
but we can have a friendly argument about it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with
Oh yeah.
but anyways, as I was pushing through, thank you so much, Blind Giant, for that $5 super chat. That was fantastic. So after the 64, obviously that was already within the generation of PlayStation. So did you
Yep.
have them both simultaneously, or did you do the old classic thing like I had to do growing up? And I'm gonna have to slide this over to the counter at GameStop to pick up this new system right here because we ain't got it like that.
Yeah.
Like
No,
what was it like for you?
it was at that time, actually, I had the Nintendo 64. My older brother had the PS1. So
Oh, so it's split
it
up in the house. Let's
yeah, it
go.
kind of worked out because he back then he was basically playing Madden and WWF games at the time. And
Attitude.
yeah, and so I was playing, my Nintendo stuff. I was playing either Mario, Zelda, or GoldenEye. And whenever I first got introduced to Final Fantasy VII, I kind of took over the PS1 for a long hot minute because
Mm.
I absolutely loved that game.
Okay. So there was so he let you play on it. He let you
Yeah,
borrow it and
yeah.
whatnot. Wasn't a punk about
No, no, he was pretty good about that.
it. Okay, that's good. That's good. So that was your opportunity to have uh been able to play PlayStation, and that's fantastic because then you didn't have to sacrifice one for the other. Um,
Exactly.
but then along came like and I never actually got to ask you this, so let me go back and ask you, did you ever get into any of the Sega consoles at all during this period of time?
I never did own a Sega, but I had a family member. My cousin actually had the Genesis. So whenever we'd go over, and hang out at family stuff, family get together, I'd sit there and play Sonic all day with them.
Right.
Um, but that was, with Sega, that was kind of my real only experience. Honestly, was playing Sega with family members because I never did own the Genesis.
Okay. Don't know that's fair enough because I mean I had the same thing flipped. Like I told you, I had the Genesis. I had to go to my cousin's house to go play the Super Nintendo or the
Yeah,
64 when it first came out. I ended up
yeah.
having my own 64 later on, but I didn't end up getting the 64 until like maybe a year prior to like the Dreamcast coming out. All
Hmm.
right. So I got it way later, but I've been had like a PlayStation. I've been had the Sega Genesis and whatnot like that. But yeah, very similar. I either had to go to the friend's house down the street to play Nintendo or the cousin's house across town. So I understand what that's like. Um but but then I gotta ask, so you continued not to have a Sega have you ever had a Sega console?
Nope.
Okay, so that skips right over the Dreamcast. So you didn't have a Dreamcast. Shout out to Brody in the chat again saying what about Legend of Dragoon? So he's going back to the PlayStation.
Oh, that was one of the games that I, it slipped by me for some reason. I don't know if I just didn't see it when it kind of launched. I don't know if, honestly, I don't know if it was super popular when it launched because I just never got to play it. But as I've gotten older, I've heard so many people talk about that game, and it was one that slipped by me. I never got to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I never got to play
Yeah,
that either. I wasn't into too many. Like I have some deep cuts I was into, but it
yeah,
wasn't like today where the news is everywhere and like you could just like be like, man, oh, here's a list of games right here that I'm gonna tackle. It wasn't that easy, especially with being a kid during
oh
that
yeah, for
time
sure.
period. Like Blockbuster, and then and it's like I got this game for the next 3 days, maybe 5 days.
Yep.
right? And in 5 days is for like the non-new releases.
Yeah,
3 days for
exactly.
the new releases. Hollywood Video, same thing. And it was just like, I'm gonna play probably the most popular games, and then like as sales come out, that's when I start seeing what deep cuts look like.
Yep,
Because
exactly.
like my mom was not finna go spend $60 per game. That was not happening.
No, no,
she
me
was like,
either.
she was like on my birthday or Christmas, like, you got $100 and I'm trying to get 6 games. That's
Right,
what I'm trying to do.
right.
I'm not getting two $60 games and asking my mom for another $20, please. Like, no,
Yep,
I'm trying to get a stack that's going to take
yep,
me back home and keep me busy, because I don't see it like an adult sees it. I don't see the quality. I want quantity. I'm a kid, you know what I'm
exactly,
saying? Um,
exactly.
but yeah, but Brody says it's on PS5 now. Got to check it out. So there you go.
Oh, snap. Okay.
There you go. There's an opportunity now, and plus, you know, you can always get the old school one as well. But
True.
it costs an arm. Like, these games now
Oh, yeah.
cost an arm and a leg to try to get some of these old games. They ain't no joke. Miss Joanna Dark, I see you in the chat. I know you can attest to that. That's why emulation is becoming such a big deal nowadays,
Oh,
because
yeah.
people are just like, dude, I'm not buying this game for $3,000. You're out of
No.
your mind. This game
No.
does not like you're selling this game as if I'm gonna put it in after spending $3,000 and feel like I'm playing $3,000. Like, that's not
Exactly.
happening. It's still
No.
gonna feel like you're playing like a $50 game at max.
Yep. Exactly.
So it's insane. But moving on, as I said earlier, like, along came like the PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah.
All right. GameCube, Xbox. One of, if not in my opinion, the most legendary generation to
Yeah.
me, because it seemed like Xbox just had an apps like what I would call like the PlayStation 2 was like a good looking Ferrari. Like, it was dope. It was like, man, this thing is insane.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
GameCube was dope in its own aspect, but it was kind of it was just kind of something else, the way that they advertise it. When the Xbox came out, it was like this all American, like this Charger that has an engine in it that doesn't make any sense. Uh, like, it ain't street legal, but it's out here. And
Yep.
like I remember so many people with the Xbox, including myself, being like, yo, like, I think this thing has bottomless memory.
Yeah.
I don't think I can fill this thing up. I'm here putting CD after CD after CD, burning CDs onto it, and it just will never run out of memory. But and it's weird because, like, I look at it now, I still have my Xbox, and I know that memory is different now,
Oh,
because you
yeah.
can really fill up your Series X or your PS5. Like it's always asking you to delete for more room if you don't have a memory stick in there.
Oh, yeah.
But and plus, you didn't download games onto your console at that time. They were still on your disc. It was just weird feeling like, coming from the PlayStation, right? Did you ever
Hmm.
own a Xbox, Ramrod?
I did. Yep.
So coming from the PlayStation, where it's like, which one of these saves am I finna sacrifice?
Yep.
Oh God, well, I
Yep.
don't want to get rid of
Exactly.
this. Like, because if I delete this GTA save that's taking up a third of this memory card
Yeah.
here,
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to do it all over again. And what happens if I want to play it again? Like,
Yep.
I
There
don't
was
want to
no
start
cloud
all
saves
over.
back then.
But the Xbox is like, how many saves you want, bro?
Yeah. As many as you want.
Exactly. Talk about it. So let's talk about this generation. Which one came first for you? Was it the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, or the GameCube?
It was that was the generation where I didn't actually own the Nintendo system of that generation. I never actually owned a GameCube.
Mm,
Um, my best friend did. So anytime I was, staying at his house, it was Super Smash Bros. Melee. It was, the Mario Kart Double Dash. It was all the Nintendo goodness. But for me, it was PS2 first. I ended up getting sucked into that
same.
because God of War. I don't know what it was about God of War, but it was that and Final Fantasy X. Those two games sucked me into the PlayStation 2, and then um, it was short time after that, maybe about a year after that, is when I got the Xbox, and it was simple. It was for Halo, because I remember I'd went to my friend's house and I'd played Halo 1 for the first time, and it got me. At that point, I was like, man, I've got to find a way. I got to save money somehow. I've got to get an Xbox for Halo.
Do you remember trying to dial in first person shooting at that
Yes.
time? It was like, I'm telling y'all, like, we were used to a lot of like third person guy
Mm-hmm.
in the center of the screen. And if it was first person, like Goldeneye, like
Yeah.
everything was like
Yeah.
done with like just the stick. You didn't just
Yep.
one single stick. You didn't have to use twin sticks to do really
Yep.
anything. On the PlayStation, on the PlayStation 2 and the original PlayStation, they had analog sticks, but very limited games really took
Yeah.
advantage of of both analog sticks. Hell, there was an on and off button for the analog sticks on the
Yeah.
old PlayStation controllers. So those were super old and not really taken completely advantage of. But once you got your hand on Halo, it was like
Totally
it
different.
it really was like in this like I remember just touching it for the first time. It wasn't my first person game that I ever played, but the amount of timing and whipping around the right stick,
Yeah.
that was so fresh and so something I was not ready for when I first played that game. Like playing that, it was tough. For it sounds crazy now, but
Yeah.
it was tough at first trying to
Oh,
get
it
used
was.
to that. And shooting was sometimes X or A on other controllers.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was buttons that would not pass, would absolutely tank a rating of a game nowadays.
Oh, for sure.
Were buttons back in the day for certain
Yep.
video games. But now it's like it almost feels like that Halo was one of the games that made it regular to have your trigger button,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
it felt so good. And these big, fat, nasty Xbox
Yeah.
controllers, when you shot from them, it felt like you were holding a damn gun because this damn thing rumbled like
Yeah,
crazy, especially if you were a kid. If you were a kid holding this monstrosity of a controller, you
for
were
sure.
getting kicked.
For sure.
That recoil wasn't playing.
Especially like, you come from, say, GoldenEye, where you got an N64 controller, so you're using one joystick and then the Z button on the back to shoot. And you're pretty much playing the game one-handed. And so then when you get on something like Halo and you're like, how do I use two joysticks at one time, And I think that that's kind of when first person shooters as a whole, I think, started to kind of become revolutionized around that, because
It's like a
then
sport
you
almost then.
yeah, then you started seeing Sony and Microsoft starting to kind of build on that first person shooter foundation. But I really think it was Halo that brought it to the masses and just really, really made it readily available to people to actually play first person shooters. And I have to credit, I think Halo is probably being the most mainstream approach to first person shooters and kind of has brought it to a degree of what it is now.
No, I 100% agree with that because, like I said, it was the first game that made me like, yo, I gotta practice
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And it was the first game that almost made you feel like you want to because you had the system link where you could play with other friends, or
Yep.
better yet, you could do 4-player co-op. So you're really like dialing stuff in, figuring things out. And you don't want to be that guy that's running behind everybody that's not shooting or killing anything. You want to be
Yeah.
like laying it down. And back in those times when you didn't really have like online multiplayer, you replayed the heck out of games
Oh,
over and
for sure.
over and over. And Halo was one of the games where you got to legendary mode. You played
Oh, yeah.
you get to that
Yeah.
part and you get to that library, bro. It goes down with with those with the flood in there, man. They're so dang disrespectful, jumping at you like 100 feet at you, and
Oh,
all
yeah,
those
dude.
little popping dudes. Like, man, on Legendary, the library is one of the most disrespectful levels I ever remember as a
For sure.
kid.
For sure. I died so many times.
Yeah, and it was just like, I mean, you get to that point and you remember it from previous like
Yeah.
playthroughs, like that level is just hard. It just is hard. So it's on Legendary. You get to the level with your bros and whatnot. It's just like, yo, bro, we finna die like 50 times.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
finna happen. It's just,
Hmm.
you're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah,
but anyway,
exactly.
but anyway, so Halo was very revolutionary for you. Nintendo, not at all during that generation, but PlayStation 2, very heavy for you. Which one kind of like solidified that generation for you?
I looking back, I would say that most likely the PlayStation 2, and that was just because of the whole library that system
Huge.
had. I mean, it was just unreal because I kind of felt like you didn't run out of games. I mean, you played God of War and it was like, well, great, you go play Final Fantasy X, but then God of War 2 comes out and you're like, okay. And it just seemed like constantly PlayStation 2 always had another AAA game like every couple of months. And then so you end up just before you know it, you just have this catalog of games that you're playing that even to this day, um, a lot of those games are still really highly regarded. And I
Yep.
think that's and two, it's a testament as to why it's the best selling console of all
All
time.
time.
So, I mean, Sony really hit a home run with that one because when you look at how many units they sold worldwide, it's so, bro, it's almost unheard of. I mean, because it's a feat that even no console since home console has ever been able to touch.
Mm. From this day, I still believe that it's okay that Rockstar hasn't put out a new Grand Theft Auto
Yeah,
because of the pedigree that was created from the original PlayStation 2. When
yeah,
they dropped Grand Theft Auto 3 on
yeah. It's
PlayStation
huge.
2, I feel like the series of Grand Theft Auto, sure, but just the kickoff of Grand Theft Auto 3
Yeah,
solidified the PlayStation as just like that monster that just had it all. Like, sure, you had your Final Fantasies
yeah,
from previous. The God of Wars definitely helped. Tekken coming back, tag team, all that stuff. Great
yep,
games, new additions or not even like a new IP, but newer additions of like Spy Hunter and stuff like
yep.
that being on there. You had the excellent sports games that were like Madden and NCAA, college football and stuff like that. Game
Sure.
Day was still kicking. They had all different types of different like they had all different. They had like it was still during the era of where they had like 4 different NFL games
Yeah,
and like 3 different NBA games and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. It was still in that wild area of just Wild West mentality. But like, to me, the game that pushed it over the edge was Grand Theft Auto, because it eventually came to Xbox, but it didn't come day one to
No, yeah.
Xbox. So, and at that time, I didn't even have an Xbox. I had a PlayStation 2 first,
Mhm.
and then I had an Xbox. My favorite console of all time goes to the Xbox for sentimental reasons, but I cannot deny the greatness that was PlayStation 2. It was the first console I ever put online personally for
Yeah.
myself, because you
Yeah,
screwed in
same.
that back hard drive thing or whatnot, and you can
Yep.
plug you can plug either like an Ethernet cord or dial up cord to it. I had dial up, I had net zero back in that time,
Yeah. I did
and
too.
so you know the struggle. But absolutely, like the PlayStation 2 was insane, and to this day, I mean, being able, like I can still pull out and have a good time playing this game right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
You
dude.
know, I mean, fantastic. PlayStation 2 is great. One of the, and obviously I mean, let the rest of the world tell you, the greatest console.
Yeah.
I mean, not personally for me, but personal doesn't matter when you know the statue is there. It's there.
Yeah.
You know, I can have my own
Yeah.
thoughts all I want, but the statue is solidified. So anyways, so fantastic, but now, you know, the multiplayer is kicking off. Xbox Live has really like opened the eyes of internet. Sure, like I said, the PlayStation 2 had internet. It had the whole modem thing that you could get
Yeah.
with it, and actually, I think it came with one of the Final Fantasy games as well.
Mhm.
Um, and sure, they had, you know, internet in their games. There was other consoles that had internet. Dreamcast, you know, they had internet, but Microsoft really took advantage
Yeah.
of that, right? With Xbox Live for Halo 2 being one of the main things to kick it off. But then we go into the next generation, that is the 360, PS3, Wii.
Yeah.
Where were you first?
Well, it's one of those things that it kind of feels like almost every generation I somewhat flip-flopped, because the 360 was first for me, and I think a lot of that was because at that time I had a lot of buddies that got the 360, and of course Xbox Live was a thing then, and online play was a thing. Internet was starting to get better, um, and so I
Roadrunner,
ended up
baby.
going. Yeah, and so, I look at it this way, Sony, they put out great systems, great games, but if you look in those 2 generations, I kind of feel like Microsoft, they came through and revolutionized some things with Halo in the first person shooter genre. And then the very next generation, I would argue that they kind of revolutionized online gaming as what we know it now. Because the PS3 and Sony, they tried, but obviously not with the same results that Microsoft hit with Xbox Live. Because my goodness, dude, you're talking about an online system where you can play online with your buddies, you can party up and have party chat with your buddies, and at that time there was just not really another equivalent to that that was adequate. It just felt like Xbox Live at that time was kind of just the king and the one and only at that point.
Yeah, yeah, it felt like the only thing out there.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, the way it took over online gaming is like what AOL did with instant messaging.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
I
like,
would.
like eventually PlayStation had, you know, its way of talking to people, but nobody was talking about that.
No,
You
because
know,
it,
I
it
mean,
was
like,
so behind.
mhm. just I mean, just like there's, you know, you know, you can ask somebody across the world, What's McDonald's? They know exactly what it is. But you ask
Yeah.
them what's Burger King is, and they're like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's still popular enough to maybe be in some areas, but like some things are Michael Jackson known,
Yeah.
and other things are great in their own respects, but only known in the USA or only
Yeah.
known in in popular hot spots around. And that's what it felt like PlayStation Online kind of was kicking it off. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, it gained some traction
Sure.
throughout the system, but it made it nice for Xbox because they had started it in the previous generation with Halo 2 on the
Yeah.
original Xbox. So when they brought it over to the 360, it was like 2.0,
Yeah.
10 times upgraded.
Yeah. When it launched with the 360, it was so polished at that point, and then of course, Sony, they didn't really have much of an online system even at that point. And then you had Xbox over here with party chat and achievements and so many different features. And it was, gosh, it was some time after that before Sony started implementing their trophy system and their party chat and things. But again, they were already a year or more behind Microsoft. So Microsoft had kind of already laid the foundation as far as the online features and community went.
You ain't lying. John in the chat just got done saying that's Microsoft for you. It is. Because if you
Yeah.
look at even today, it's very similar in just a different dimension. Like
Yep.
like you can play Xbox in how many different ways right now?
Many ways.
You know what I mean? And PlayStation, it seems stagnant in the innovation area, but the game quality is, it can't be argued. Like
And I think
you can't
that's
be mad
been
at PlayStation's. I mean, you can be maybe mad at like oh man, the last showcase wasn't my favorite or something like that. But what you can't say is, man, the games have just like degraded terribly or something like that. Like that's never happened with them. They've always
yeah.
been kind of lagging in innovation when it comes to uh services in
Yeah.
particular.
And I think that that's absolutely true. I mean, one thing that Sony has done well, as far as systems go, is PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 are very good consoles. They're very good systems as far as technically what they can do. But you know, if you look back from like the PlayStation 1 days against all competitors, there's always been one constant theme for Sony, and that's always been their games. They've always put out solid AAA titles, and they always have great exclusives. They're great as far as storytelling narrative games. But when it came to the PS3 and the 360, obviously the Xbox had way more features as far as online community went and the things that you could do and accomplish. And and even in the beginning of the PS4 and the Xbox One days, Microsoft, had a bit of a rough launch of the Xbox One, but they ended up correcting course, and even the Xbox One had a lot of features that the PS4 couldn't do at launch that they had to implement later down the line. So I've always kind of looked like when you take Microsoft and Sony, Microsoft is always kind of trying to push envelopes with like their features and their technology. And the PlayStation's always, it seemed like, had the mindset of, well, we'll get there, but we've got some really badass games. So,
Right.
and then Nintendo's kind of always done their own thing. I mean,
Right.
Nintendo is Nintendo. It's like PS3 and 360 HD graphics, that was kind of becoming the thing. Everybody was stoked to see games look much better. And then you had the Wii, who was still in standard definition, but they had motion controls, and they ate that joker up, man.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
they sold over
nursing
100
homes and
million
everything.
units. Yeah. So I mean, Nintendo's kind of always been like, listen, you guys do what you want to do, but
Yeah.
we're gonna do what we want.
Yep, PlayStation and Xbox over here playing some, street ball against each other, and
Yeah.
Nintendo over here on a trampoline just jumping.
Yep.
They over here just doing
That's
something
it.
totally random. They in the same park, but they ain't doing the same thing at all.
Exactly. That is true.
Oh man. All right. So did you ever end up, so you said you started out with the 360. Xbox Live was a big deal for you, like it was for many of us. Halo 3, big deal.
Oh,
Call
yeah.
of Duty, big deal.
Yep.
And then obviously some of the deep cut games, fantastic. Gears of War, fantastic. Borderlands coming out, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know though, did you end up getting a PS3 throughout this generation?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I
big
ended
baller.
up getting it, I would say 2 years. I believe it was 2 years after I got the 360. And by then I think the PS3 had been out maybe 3 years or so. And I mean, to me, I kind of got it for those exclusives, man. That's what it boiled down to. It was God of War 3. Um, I remember playing Resistance. I don't know if a lot of people remember that, but Resistance was a
Resistance.
Sony exclusive game. And I feel like as it went on, all generations really, as it went on, Sony always gets me with their exclusives, but it's not so much the features. It's always those games that I'm like, man, that's a franchise I've always loved, or that's a new IP that only Sony is getting that looks incredible that I really want to play.
Right.
And that's kind of what their narrative has been to me.
No, it's 100% that. That's pretty much the whole last like 10 minutes that we were talking about saying is
Yes.
like they like one thing that Xbox does fantastic is the features, and they keep you just gaming. It's just like
Yeah.
we'll just find games and get them to you. We don't really know always where we're gonna get them, and we don't
Yeah.
know what the
Exactly.
time. Well, we don't really know what time we're gonna get them to you, but we're gonna get them to you, and you'll just play. While Sony is like diligently like, look out for the next epic novel that we have coming out. It's
Yeah.
very sophisticated. You're going to
Yep.
want to take a seat and strap in and really understand the story. And if you don't understand it the first time round, play it 3 more times.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
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 That is Sony games, and there's nothing wrong with that because they build the story so well that that a couple times isn't bad. Like for me, Spider-Man Miles Morales, one of the more recent Sony games, I beat that game like 3 or 4 times. I
Yeah.
platinumed it. It's a great game. I don't do that with all games because not every story, just like not every movie, needs to be watched
Exactly.
three or 4 times. So
For sure.
so there are definitely those moments where I spend $70 or spend $60 on a PlayStation game, and I'm like, that was good, but I could have got that on sale.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, for
So
sure.
so I mean, narrative games are dope, but when they miss and you paid full price for it, it stinks. And that's
Yep.
what Xbox is kind of taking advantage of a little bit, especially with Game Pass, where
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like taking other people's games and then giving you smaller indie games. And now they're like, screw it, let's give them our games too.
Yeah.
like they're doing that.
Exactly.
And the amount of money that they're curating from that, I'm not surprised that they're able to do that at this point. And plus, this is already Maximilian walking in the room.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I'm not surprised that some of these things. I'm just interested in that moment. That, I mean, because let's keep it a buck real quick. Xbox is fantastic. I love what they do. They're my go-to for me personally. Not speaking for you at all. They're my go-to. But when it comes to like a narrative type of game or whatnot, I mean, to be honest, have some catching up to do. They've
Yeah.
done great in the past, but the consistency hasn't quite kept up with them in particular. And that's all I got to ask for as an Xbox fan is I just want some consistency in just whatever you guys are trying to accomplish. And I'm already on board with you guys. I'm already on the train. I just want to make sure that the next place we stop is phenomenal.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, I don't want to go to no fucking diner again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to go to the Ritz. I want to go to the Ritz Carlton. Damn it.
And I think that boils down again to Microsoft always having that. They've always got more of that innovation. And
it almost stifles themselves sometimes because they're so innovative that they get ahead of themselves, right?
Well, and I think that is what happened on the Xbox One launch initially. And they announced some features that people were like, "Nah, I'm not too crazy about that," and so they scrapped those today, ideas.
Right? It's normal. A lot of those features are normal today, but it was like freaking witchcraft back in 2013, and we weren't having it.
Exactly. And now you look at it, and a lot of those features are today. And Sony, again, I know that they're trying to catch up to Game Pass with their PSN Now and these different subscription tiers that they have. And it's super cool to go back and be able to play some PS1 and PS2 and 3 games. But still yet, I think where Xbox still edges out Sony, even to this day, is because of Game Pass. You're able to get those exclusives day one on Game Pass. And of course, with being able to play EA games on there, and then Microsoft owning Bethesda, Activision even, it's kind of like, at some point, you're like, well, Microsoft's going to own everything, I feel like they're buying up everything, but the Game Pass is just too great of a value to not take advantage of, especially when you can play it on PC or console.
Right. I was just looking. Oh, there it is. Oh, wait. No, that's not it. No, I was just looking because, one of the many reasons I'm on that like I say, I'm on that Xbox train is because I can still put games like this in.
Yeah.
I can still put this
fantastic game
disc too. In. This is Max Payne 2. I just beat Max Payne 1 a few days ago. And check this out. I beat that game 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I beat it 20 years ago on my crappy Windows XP gateway computer. Yeah. The game came with a freaking mouse pad, a Max Payne mouse pad and stuff like that. Like, dude, that's epic. To be able to, and not all original Xbox games you can do that with, which stinks because of, licensing and stuff like that. But
sure,
just the ability, because like, I wish I could take the original, my Gran Turismo 2 that I have for my original PlayStation. I wish I could shove that into my PS5.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. But Sony is just, and you bring up the backwards compatibility issue, and it made me think of, with the PS3, I remember there for a bit, on the PS3, it would play your 1 and 2 games. And then, of course, when PS4 come out, everybody really wanted that feature. Everybody was like, please, just like, let me be able to play. And that's when Sony kind of doubled down and was just like, you know what? We're focused on the future, not the past. And I get that mentality, but at the same time, you also kind of have to watch because, your player base is your past. It's people that play your games from the PS1 and 2 and 3. They love your product. So you have to keep that in mind, and sometimes I feel like Sony is so future oriented to a degree that they kind of forget what's important,
For sure, and I understand, like, because I know some people would argue do you know how much it would cost to put that in there? Those are totally different laser readers. And I get that. But like, yo, if they put on right now online and said, yo, at Best Buy, you can grab a PS5 um um from, from future to classic edition for 750, people would still buy it.
Absolutely.
Like just saying, hey, we're making a limited edition, and depending on how it sells, we may do it again. And we're gonna sell a PS5 that will have all of the abilities of being
Yeah.
able to, take advantage of these older consoles and discs and stuff like that. And people would eat that thing up. People
Oh
would.
yeah.
I mean, people were already paying scalpers $1,200 for a PS5 Series X. Hell, Switches. I remember when Switches were hard to
Yeah.
come by. People were
For
spending
sure.
$700-800 for one Switch,
Mm-hmm.
and people paying $3,000 for graphics cards that were like $900.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like to me, it's just like you gotta pay homage
Yeah.
to that if you can. I mean, I 100% agree with you on that, brother. But let's move on to the last console piece of this of this topic before we move on to a couple other things before we get up out of here. All right. So
Okay.
so the next thing I wanted to talk about is um the last generation. I kind of want to smush it into this generation as well. All right.
Okay.
So the Xbox One and the PS4, which, I mean, you said that Xbox One was kind of slippery on the way out of the door, right? It was, tripping a little bit. But were you there for that first, or was it the PS4 at that time? You said you like to go back and forth, switching around.
And that's exactly what happened. I did. I did go to the PlayStation 4 before I ever got an Xbox.
Okay, let's go.
And it was the exclusives, man. It got me, and of course, by the Xbox One and PS4 days, most of your multiplayer games were multi-console anyway. They were multi-platform. Right. So for me, it was a matter of more of my friends had the PS4, and Sony had done better with their online features, and then their games for the PS4 is what got me.
Okay. What were some of the games?
I think when it came down to the PlayStation 4, it was always more narrative story based games. In particularly, I loved The Last of Us. I know it dropped on PS3 originally, but
yeah, but the remaster came to PS4.
Yeah, exactly. And when I got to play The Last of Us, and the Uncharted games, dude,
talk about it. Uncharted.
I feel like really anything for the
Hate
most
me if you
part.
want. I think Uncharted's better than The Last of Us. I don't care what anybody says.
I thought Last of Us 1 was incredible. Part 2 is not so much for me, but I feel like for the most part, anything Naughty Dog touches, dude, you can about guarantee it's going to be solid at the least, if not great. But for me, it was just a lot more of friends on the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One, and just any exclusives back then. I was playing, and I was loving Little Big Planet. Man, I wore out Little Big Planet back in the day as well. But it just, to me, it was more of the fun factor. I was just having more fun playing a lot of the Sony games back then, and eventually did get an Xbox One. I didn't get the original console. I ended up getting like the Xbox One S.
Okay.
And to me, it was kind of like that's when I was enjoying some of the Gears of War action, and Halo has always been a thing for Xbox. But it was more of a just kind of play it when there was a game I wanted to play on it. But I definitely played the PS4 more in that generation.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, I mean that generation was definitely on the rough end for Xbox, especially when it
Yeah,
had, especially the longer the generation continued, the longer it felt for the Xbox. At
yeah,
least,
for
I mean,
sure.
Game Pass ended up coming out, I believe, as like 2017,
Hmm.
which was dope. But if you remember, and if you were around for early Game Pass, it was pretty
It's
desolate.
rough. Yeah,
It was pretty. It's not a whole lot to do in there. You were still relying on your own library if you had an Xbox.
yeah.
But moving forward to now today's consoles, we got the PS5 out here. We have the Xbox Series S and X. Switch is still a big deal, and a huge boom in new PC players.
Oh yeah,
The massive boom. So and I say that because I've sort of even been part of that boom. I
oh
was
yeah,
never playing video games on a PC, but this generation has me kind of rubbing my chin like, okay, all
yeah,
right. It's just so much. I don't know. It feels like the consoles are more tied to PC than ever before.
yeah, for sure.
Right? Especially some of the services and even some of the games. As much as people want to say, "Oh, PlayStation still isn't really on PC," well, God of War is. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, Ratchet and Clank's about to be. Spider-Man is. Last of
yeah,
Us is on PC. They got PC monitors, PC headsets. I mean, like, yo, this generation, the PC is all up in these consoles business.
yeah.
so
And I think
so
that that's
yeah.
probably in the mindset, obviously. I mean, they dropped Xbox put Game Pass on PC, so it's just as easy to play all the Xbox games you want to on PC. And Sony's finally coming around, first with, God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn,
Right.
and then they started dropping, Last of Us and, Uncharted, and so now it's kind of like, well, okay, now Sony's kind of getting the hint that, well, they can make a lot of money by putting their exclusives on PC. I mean, people will buy those. And and of course Nintendo still being Nintendo. I mean, I don't foresee Nintendo ever doing anything with PC. I would be highly surprised if that ever were to become a thing. Something about playing Mario and Zelda on PC just doesn't sound right. I don't think that'll ever be a thing. It'd be badass if it did. I would love it. I would be one of the first consumers to play Mario on
I know
PC,
it
but
doesn't. It sound so weird to like. It sounds good to me to say PlayStation launcher or Xbox
yeah,
launcher. Like when I say PlayStation launcher, I'm just like, where are you? Like, what's
yeah,
going on? When I say Xbox launcher, I'm like, oh, you're right there.
yeah,
Any other, Epic, EA launchers, whatever. I mean, those are kind of like it almost feels like there's too many launchers. I wish some of them were kind of like more uh together, but obviously since they're different businesses with and they publish, they probably
yeah.
don't want to team up with other people. But one publisher and console maker that just sounds weird to say is Nintendo launcher.
Yeah,
Nintendo launcher
yeah.
just doesn't sound quite right, but I 100% agree with you. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound right, but give me that shit. Like
I
please,
would
because
do it. I would
because
pay for
I
it.
I am not trying to continue to rely on Nintendo on the hardware. I'm telling y'all, I'm sorry. I would
Yeah,
much rather play any of my Switch games on this, any
yeah,
of them. I'd rather play on this other than an actual Switch. Any of the old, F Zeros or Super Smash Brothers. I'd love to play that 1440p. I would
yeah.
not be mad about that.
I know.
120
Exactly.
FPS, 1440p, Mario swinging the bat. Let's go.
Yep.
you know. So yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, brother. But yeah. So where are you at on these three consoles?
You know, even now, as current as it is, I do the majority of my gaming and streaming and everything on PC.
It's
I
like the
do
freaking
have
Florida Gator. It's just chomping.
yeah.
It's
I
just
mean,
eating gaming.
I do have a PS5 and a Switch for exclusives. Like if I want to stream, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or if I want to stream God of War Ragnarok or Ghost of Tsushima or something like that, I've got the consoles and a capture card so that I can stream it. But 90% of the time it's through PC. And of course Game Pass on PC. So if Microsoft throws out a game that I want to play, if it's an exclusive or if it's just an EA game, if it's a third party game and it's on Game Pass, dude, I'm going to play it on Game Pass instead of buying it on Steam or Epic or anything else. And I feel Game Pass has saved me a lot of money because I have played so many games on Game Pass, even on PC, that
Do you have an
they
Xbox
nope.
currently? So you specifically play Xbox only on PC.
PC. Yep.
I want you to continue what you're saying, but I got the $1 million question coming after you finish.
But to me, between Game Pass and then just the Xbox launcher on PC and being able to do any features that I would have done on the console, being able to do it on my PC, I just never really decided to take the plunge for the Xbox console because I could do what I wanted through PC.
Okay, so that leads me right into the bill. I'm gonna raise it stacks. $1 billion question.
Okay.
All right. So we just got done talking about launchers.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation and Nintendo are two launchers that are not available, that they don't exist yet. If PlayStation were to bring a launcher over and Nintendo brought a launcher over, and you had the choice of playing it with the power of your PC like you currently do with the Xbox, are you buying hardware for either one of those hardware manufacturers anymore?
Most likely no. Most likely no. Because well, I can't say most likely no, because who knows what a future console is going to be capable of, what features it's going to have. Um, the PS5 for what it is on a price point is pretty impressive because you'd be very hard pressed to build a PC with the type of power that a PS5 has for the price of a PS5. But if I could have a PlayStation launcher and a Nintendo launcher, and let's say that the launchers were solid, right? They weren't
Right.
janky and they weren't wonky or anything.
I'm
And it was
saying launchers to the quality of Xbox's launcher.
I would be fine with that because I really enjoy Xbox's launcher. I mean, is it a little bland? Sure. I mean, could they add some things to it and spice
Yes,
it up? Sure.
absolutely.
But
I agree.
for case in point, you want to play a game, I can download it and be playing it in no time. So as a launcher, it functions totally fine. Um, but to me, sure, I mean they could spice it up and put some more features into the launcher. But as long as PlayStation and Nintendo could put out launchers and it be optimized really well, and that the games be optimized really well, um, I really feel like I would probably use my PC for kind of an all-in-one streaming gaming.
Yep. So, I mean, what you're describing, and see, that's interesting. All right. So yeah, what you're describing is pretty much turning any of these consoles into TVs, because TVs have all of the services on it,
Yep.
right? I put out a poll that was a little bit different than what we were talking about yesterday on Twitter, and I'm gonna pull that up and just speak on it real quick before we jump to the next subject, um, which is going to be about your content creating and whatnot. But anyways, the poll that I'm looking for, real quick. Okay, right here. I put up a poll saying if every game was available for every platform, which ecosystem would you buy into and never look back? Now, like I said, I'm a lot of people that tend to follow me are Xbox fans.
Yeah.
So that that what is it called? That what do you call them?
It's probably going to be a
Poll.
little.
Those polls are was a little skewed. In this
Yeah.
case, it was a lot skewed. I don't have I don't have like near 8,000 followers, but about 8,000 people voted on this, with Microsoft being 65% of the vote, with Sony being 21%, Nintendo at a staggering 4%,
Wow.
and other even higher than Nintendo at an 8.5%.
Oh, wow.
So like it was an interesting poll. I got a lot of flack from it for a lot of people because I'm an Xbox fan saying this, but everybody does polls. Why can't I do one? Damn it.
Right.
So yeah, I did that poll. It was wild. And I'm just thinking the way a lot of people are probably looking at this poll is PC, like you're looking at it.
Yeah.
So when they see Microsoft on there, I'm assuming that even dials in people that are even thinking Linux or Apple.
Yeah, it could be.
Like I feel like the other category is just really part of the Microsoft one because it's just PC. It feels like.
Yeah.
Although a lot of people within the comments said, Xbox, and a lot of them said, the Game Pass or the controller for Xbox and stuff like that. But I mean, I feel like a lot of people that clicked maybe Microsoft that were not in this circle were just thinking, I would just get a PC and rock on that, because literally I've done some background stuff with this Steam Deck here, right? It
Yeah.
runs Windows, okay? It runs Windows 11, and that's what it goes into most time whenever I started, unless I was playing a Steam game last. But what I'm trying to say is I can access the Xbox launcher anywhere.
Yeah.
Any way. On my Steam Deck, since I have Windows on it. On my phone, since I have Game Pass and just the regular Xbox app on it. I can go over your house and play my game.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And all you need is, I mean, if all your stuff just disappeared and all you had was an iPad, I could still play my game.
Yep.
So I'm just like, man, these ecosystems are insane now.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm wondering, because right now I'd say Microsoft's in the lead with ecosystems, and it's part of one of the reasons why they're getting so much flack with this Activision Blizzard thing, because they're spread out everywhere, right? They're unfortunately my favorite platform is kind of good at a lot, but the master of not really anything in particular yet. And I'm waiting to see what they master.
Yeah.
It's kind of like watching an up and coming boxer, but unfortunately, this up and coming boxer has been boxing for 20 years.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, I think that Microsoft, their strong suit, in my opinion, and it's just based on kind of what I've seen, is Man, I feel like Microsoft and Phil Spencer really listens to the consumer. Like,
Yes.
PlayStation somewhat, Nintendo somewhat, but it's almost like PlayStation, Nintendo still are like, I hear you, Ham, and I hear what you're saying, but we still prefer it to do this way, and that's what we're going to do. And I feel like Microsoft is more like, okay, you tell me what you like and what you don't like, and let's ask millions of people, get all their feedback, and see what it is that our consumers and gamers want to see most. And
It's
I
very
feel like,
democratic.
yeah, and I feel like you see that with Game Pass. You see it with the Xbox Play Anywhere. You see it with, the Bethesda um, purchase and possibly, the Activision and Blizzard. So I mean, you see Microsoft taking steps, you see them listening and trying to implement some changes. Um, and I just don't feel like the other powerhouses, so to speak, really take that same approach. And I think that that's why Microsoft has probably gotten a lot more flack lately, but it's also why they're number one in your poll because people feel like they're being heard. And I think on a consumer basis, that's all you can ask for is that your opinion and your thoughts are being listened to. So, I mean, kudos to Microsoft for that, man.
No doubt, no doubt. Because yeah, what Sony does is great, flat out. Like you can't. I mean, you could say the same thing about Nintendo, but it's just like
For sure.
you go on to Twitter just for the last week, and if you're heavy into gaming, you've been seeing people talk about Xbox fans are
Yep.
paid when they're the the people that work at Microsoft are just outside that much that it seems
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anybody and their mama can meet Phil Spencer. Anybody and their mama can shake hands with Aaron Greenberg. If you're willing to pay to go to that conference, they'll pay you back for being there by shaking hands with you, taking a picture with you, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's like an
Exactly.
expo everywhere they go. Everywhere they go, it's an expo.
Yeah. For sure.
Right? They're like the Mortal Kombat characters at Comic-Con. They're just always
Yeah.
there. you know? So I mean, yeah, kudos to Microsoft for that. And I definitely like to see Nintendo kind of get more dug in to
Yeah.
that, and same with Sony. Because we already know that they're great, but the one thing that we kind of and see, it's also kind of it's also kind of a hindrance for Microsoft as well, because sometimes when they listen, they give us what they thought we asked for, and it ends up not being at all. It's not what
Yeah.
they wanted or what we wanted, and it ends up just
Exactly.
being terrible. So I can see why Sony and Nintendo don't do that, but but at the same time, I'm just like, dude, you guys are so far in the lead. This is your moment to do that.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right. So next topic, the last main topic, really, and what I wanted to hit on is just how you got into this whole content creating thing, because you said that, hey, I started out here, then I went over there and whatnot, but I want to take it before then. I want to take it to the time that you hit, go live, and you were the only person watching.
Oh, wow.
Like what was getting into it initially like for you? Was it something that you had to like push yourself to do? Were you suggested by somebody to do it? Were you always super ambitious and just, I got a lot of pent up energy and I just need to get it out? Like what was your way of entering this you know, this this content creating space?
It's really interesting because I mean at this point we've most definitely established I've been a gamer since I was 5 years old and I'm 33 now. So um I've always been a gamer, huge into games, huge into anime. I've just been a huge nerd my whole life, and I loved it, love it. But it wasn't until last year to even hit you a little bit with some personal. I'm a veteran, and
Thank you for your service, brother.
I appreciate that, my man. I'm actually diagnosed with PTSD and depression and anxiety. So I battle a lot. I battle a lot all the time. And last year, um, around August, I had surgery. In August of 2022. And I had always had an idea of streaming. I was kind of like, I think that would be fun. I'd like to do it, but I would always talk myself out of it and be like, "Nah, they ain't nobody gonna want to watch me. Nobody's gonna watch me play." And but when I had surgery, I was down on the couch for almost a month, so I didn't wasn't a whole lot I could do. And you can only binge watch Netflix for so long, dude. And
Facts.
so I would get out my phone and I'd scroll through Twitch, I'd scroll through YouTube, and I'd just watch people stream games that I would play if I were able to get up and go play. And so I started watching some people, and I was like, man, this is cool. Like, they seem like they're enjoying it. They seem like they're having a good time. They're meeting people, and so um, I was sitting there, in pain, and I started to communicate with some of these streamers I was watching in their communities, and I was like, this could be cool. This could be an outlet for me and for what I deal with on a daily basis on a personal level. This could be a good thing for me. And so once I got healed up and could, start gaming again, and it was in September of 2022, I created a Twitch. I was like, screw it, dude, let's do it. The worst that could happen is I stream and it goes terribly and nobody shows up and I don't like it and I don't do it. Best case scenario is I love it, enjoy it, and meet cool people. And thankfully, it was the latter. I had to teach myself everything. I mean, I had to teach myself OBS and browser sources,
Talk about it.
overlays.
Oh
I
snap,
was
man!
like,
It's so
yes.
messy. It's so messy when you're
And then
first
you're
starting
trying to
to.
figure out devices. You're like, why is my sound not working? Why can't I hear this? Why are they hearing this when they're not supposed to? And it was trial and error. And sometimes just for fun, I'll go back and look at like some of my beginning streams, and
Mm,
I'm like, you know what? It's kind of a slice of humble pie. You look at it, you're like, those were rough. But at the time, you felt like you were doing some awesome things.
I
And
know, right?
so you look at
Innovative.
it, yeah. And then you look at the contrast and you're like, okay, so that wasn't that great back then, but now I feel like I'm much better because just through time and repetition, you just naturally get better at things. And man, in the time that we've done this and in 10 months that we started this journey, to be able, if you would have asked me 11 months ago when I was laying on that couch, that I was going to start streaming and be able to accomplish the things that we have as a community, being able to be partnered with HyperX, being able to be partnered with Dubby Energy, being able to have 3,000 followers on Twitter. We just got our Discord up to 210 members, and for our YouTube channel to hit 3.8K subs. And then I think on Twitch we've got 300 and like maybe 65 followers. And then, like I said, we just started Kick
Kick. Yep.
3 weeks ago, actually, almost to the day 3 weeks ago. And we're up to almost 275 followers in 3 weeks over there. And I've met in this 10-month journey, dude, I have met incredible people that have become more than a community to me. They're family. I mean, I talk to a lot of our people daily, and if I'm able, I go by their streams daily, and they come by mine, and it's a family. You feel love, you feel encouragement, you feel support, and to me, that's all I want. You know, we got enough of this toxicity and negativity in this world as it is, and if the least that I can do is build a community of friendships and family where we just hang out and we enjoy gaming, we nerd out together, we encourage together, we show love. That's all I can ask for, man. At the end of the day, if I accomplish that, I'm good. Like I don't need to be a Tim the Tap Man or Doctor Disrespect, man. If I can make friendships and relationships and people that I can talk to and go to on a daily basis. Hey man, I got something going on, you know. What's up? Talk to me about it. When you form those kinds of friendships, dude, that's worth $1 million to me, you know. So that's my take on it.
This is lovely, brother. That was lovely. But I want to go to the chat real quick before
Okay.
I re-dig back into your past just for a moment. Shout out to Seven Down. He says Ram Fam.
Yeah.
Same with Blind Giant. He says Ram Fam. Anonymous Speed said, which I like that name. It's nice.
Yeah, Speed's good people, man.
He says Ramrod is the GOAT. The GOAT. And then Blind Giant comes back and says Ham Fam. Hey, I ain't mad about it.
There we go.
Hey,
there we
Ham,
go.
Hey, be part of the Ham and Ram Fam. Let's go.
There we go.
Right.
There we go.
But anyways, and then a little bit further down the chat, G Dog comes through saying, "Fun fact: if Fall Guys didn't exist, I wouldn't have known Ramrod and his community existed because our friend Nugget did a Fall Guys stream almost a year ago."
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's when you're humble, man. Like you meet people over almost a year ago, and then they're still here with us tonight, you know. And you have your people that come and go. You have your people that are toxic and negative. You have their people that are selfish and want you to follow so that they gain something. But at the end of the day, for me, it's about genuine friendships. And I can honestly say that this community that we built up to this day and that we're continuously building through streaming, through content creating, through Discord, through Twitter, whatever, social media, it's a community that is friendships and family. Like a lot of these people, a lot of the people you just talked about in chat are people that are always at the streams. I go to their streams, but when something's going on with me or something's going on with them, they reach out. And when you have those connections and friendships with people, that's something you can't replace. No monetary value is going to be able to replace people that are in your life on a daily basis. And that's what I'm thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who knows what the heck? Like when I get whatever comes out of, you know, the membership or the super chats or whatever I get out of that stuff, I'm looking to put forth into the channel, but I'm not gonna remember where that money went compared to me remembering John 907i coming through early in my like I'm gonna remember that name. If I see that name 5 years from now, I'm gonna remember, man, it's been that long.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna remember the $2 that John gave. I'm not gonna remember the $5 super chat from Blind Giant, but I'm gonna remember that Blind introduced me to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You know, like these early folks in the memberships, like you guys are in the golden age of my channel.
Yeah.
And like although I'm appreciative to all people that join, the people that come through early remember when you were riding on 4 flats.
Yeah.
Barely making it on time or not even on time at all.
Absolutely.
Sounds crackling. You know, your mic went out and you don't know, and you've been talking on stream for 10 hours, but they're still in the chat.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you having horrible quality stream for your video game because you don't know how to run your OBS properly.
Right.
Like,
But they're there for you.
But they came through, and although that they may not have watched every single second, maybe they just turned you on, put their phone down, and walked away and went and watched a TV show. And maybe they even did that, but the fact of the matter is they clicked your butt.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Just to even show a second of support. And bro, that means a hell of a lot. Shout out to Blind Giant with another $2 super chat saying two of the realest Ham Solo and Ramrod. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. And thank you again for the introduction from you about Ramrod Jenkins here.
And that's when you never know, dude. I mean, I met Giant on Twitter, and I never thought that, you know, by just meeting someone on Twitter that you would become such good friends with, and then be so intricate between he's in, you know, my Discord and I'm in his Discord, and, you know, and even through times where you may not talk for a few days, you might not see each other for a week, but they're always there, dude. They're always there. And Giant and Big and a lot of those cats over there in their Discord, like, it's funny because I may post in there one day and they may not get back to me that day. It might be 3 days later, but they're going to get back to me. And it's just because there's so much love and respect there between him and Big and all of these Discords that we all just kind of mesh communities and join each other.
We jumping in and out of different Discords all the time.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, when you've got that community, you just can't beat it. You can't put words to describe that.
Absolutely. Back from the dead in the chat. It says, I've hung out with people in parties before. Their podcast was just a idea, like how I play MK11 plus Soul Caliber with Mav before fun speculation even existed. So yeah, I mean that's wild. And I mean, just a moment ago, Blind Giant in the chat says, I remember when your shows were pre-recorded. Yeah. I used to do pre-recording things because I didn't know how to do this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I was nervous, bro. Like I was nervous just putting out a pre-recorded thing, and now I'm out here live, and I go back and I watch some of my old episodes. I am so verbatim with the question. I'm looking right at the questions and I'm asking every single one verbatim. Now I'm inviting people like Ramrod here, and I'm telling you, like, we might hit the questions, we might not. I don't know. Because I'm so used to doing this now that I can veer left and never come back home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so shout out to Too Big in the chat with a $2 super chat saying, we on Hawaiian time, my bad for that.
Hey.
You're talking about the 2 or 3 days you were talking about to get back. But anyways, let's keep it moving with the topic that was at hand. So you were talking about getting, you know, into it early, you know, being a veteran and, you know, watching people do this kind of stuff for a hot minute, and then engaging with said people about maybe your interest in it or just, you know, how they're doing in general as people, kind of made you get into it more. But what was like the moment where it was like, you're doing this, but you finally, you know, in a drag race, you've been in drag races before, have you?
Oh yeah.
So early, you know, in the drag race, they peel out to clean off and warm up their tires.
Yep.
Right. and then they pull up to the actual line. I'm going to say, let's talk about a moment where it felt like you peeled out and you were at the line. And like what stream do you remember off the top of your head where you're like, after I hit live, it was magic?
Yeah. I think honestly, it was my first stream, my very first
Wow.
one, because I have a best friend of mine. He is truly like my brother. We've been best friends since we were 13 years old. He's been my ride or die for 20 years, and we are two peas in a pod. Same interests, same hobbies, and when I was tossing around the idea about streaming, I talked to him a lot about it, and finally he was kind of that final push for me. That was because he knew, um, about my service and the issues that I've dealt with and my diagnosis and things like that, and super bad to get in my head and be so hard on myself, and he was really that final one that was just like, brother, just do it. And if you enjoy it, then kudos, keep doing it. But if you don't, then at least hey, I gave it a shot. It wasn't for me. And move on to something else. But at least you'll know. And he kind of gave me that final nudge. And then from that point on, I remember doing my very first stream, and it was on Halo actually, and dude, I think I might have had 7 viewers that whole 3-hour stream, but I loved it. There was something about it that it just kind of sucked me in, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the feeling of doing something that I enjoy and play games, but at the same time, knowing that at any point in time somebody could pop in there and just be like, "Hey, what's up? I just come across your stream, your channel." Um, so it was really kind of that first stream where I knew this is fun. This is what I want to do, and if I wasn't streaming, I would be playing this game anyway. So why not try and stream it and see what happens? And to me, I think that first stream is what got me. And then the moment where I knew, like, this is what I really want to do was after about 2 months of streaming. I had a friend reach out to me, and he basically told me, your streams have really helped me tremendously because I was going through some hard personal things, and he was like, whenever I pop in your stream, I have a good time and it makes me feel better about things, and that means the world to me. And I'll never forget that, because at that point it clicked for me that, like, dude, this could have a real
It has
effect on
purpose.
people.
It has purpose now.
Yeah, for sure. And ever
More than
since
just
that
for
day,
me, but also for
yeah,
others, which is which is a fat reason that you get in. If you're not getting into content creating for others more, I mean, sure, you're doing it for yourself. Sure, it's
yeah,
nice to get super chats, all this other stuff, whatever. It's nice. That's a bonus to all
yeah,
of it. But
exactly.
there is a period of time there. 2 weeks ago, I didn't have super chats available, so
Yeah,
I had to have a reason to want to do it, right? And it wasn't
exactly.
just for me wanting to, pat myself on the back. It was just insane. And I'm sure you can kind of attest to it as well, because for me, it's just like, I can't wait. I mean, not I can't wait. I can't believe that people are waiting to see me. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think it flipped a switch in me when that happened, because when you yourself are diagnosed with PTSD and depression, anxiety, and you get that, you get that feeling, you get that understanding. So when someone that might be struggling with something similar or even something different, but they come up to you and they say, you know, your stream meant a lot to me. Your stream helped me in some way, whatever way that might be. As a person and as a creator, it makes me feel like, well, this is my purpose because I love doing this, and the fact that I help somebody is even more so. It's just confirmation that like I'm doing what I'm meant to do and what I want to do, and that's the most humbling thing that can happen, in my opinion.
Man, you nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. So here's a fun question. I've actually never asked anybody this one before. I just kind of thought of it off the top of my head because I
Awesome.
thought it was kind of fun. What's a moment in which you were kind of, you know, you thought you were comfortable, you thought you were going 100 miles an hour in the 100 miles an hour area. You're going good. And then you realize you're going 500 miles an hour and oh my god, I just realized what I'm doing right now. How do I push this moment forward? Have you had one of those moments where it was just like, wow, this is more than I anticipated? How am I gonna, I could see your Dragon Ball Z characters. I see Beerus, I see,
Oh
Goku
yeah.
and all those guys. You know how sometimes they go a whole episode and they just sitting like this.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yes.
For
The filler
24 minutes,
episodes.
they're just
Yeah.
and just another
Oh
screen,
man.
even more wind is blowing everywhere than just a second ago. What was
I
that
think
moment where you were like feeling like you manifested something bigger than you had set out for that day?
I think it was honestly more recently. I think it was when I had kind of talked to the community a bit in Discord about maybe starting on Kick. And at that point, I wasn't even fully switching from one platform to the other. It was just a matter of saying, hey, why don't we just add another platform to the mix of, somewhere else to reach people? And so I think it was when we started Kick, and I can't remember. I think it was my second or third stream on the platform, and I got a big raid, and it was like the biggest raid that I ever got in my life. It was like 40.
See,
It
this
was
is
like,
what I'm talking about right now. This is
yeah, it
exactly
was.
what I'm talking about. Where it's just like
I,
you're just chilling, and then
yeah,
you're just like, "Whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here?"
yes, and that was it. I think we were playing. I think we were. I might have been playing Call of Duty or something, and I don't play Call of Duty often, but I was just kind of feeling it that day, and I just remember a raid coming through of like 40 to 50 people, and I was just like you're stunned because I've never had a raid that big in my life. So I was like, I don't know what to do. That's so many people, and it was from that point forward and every stream since on Kick that it's just been building. Like every day I'm meeting new people. Every stream I'm meeting new people. And when you're just seeing that constant growth, it in my mindset, it's just like I gotta keep pushing 100 miles an hour. I gotta keep going because this momentum's with us right now. We gotta roll. But I think it was that first huge raid that really sunk into my mind like, holy crap, this could really be something.
Right,
And that was it for me.
man. I mean, that hit you like a tornado. I'm sure.
Sure. Oh yeah.
That's phenomenal. All right, so the last thing I want to do on this subject before I hit you with the quick hitter questions before we get up out of here is I want you to take a moment of your time and just shout out the people that helped you get to where you're at in personal or, digital life.
Oh my gracious. Wow. Well, first, it would definitely be my best friend Slug. I know he's probably not here tonight, but for him giving me that final push to really take the plunge and try it. And then gosh, since then, a lot of our OG members that have been since, been with the Ram fam since day one, Delta and Chris Stahl, obviously Giant and Too Big have played a huge role coming in early. Gosh, they were early too.
Yeah,
Um,
they
and
usually are.
and even more recent, Brody and Speed and a lot of these guys that are showing up now, and they're like showing up every day. Kill Gauge, dude, there are so many that it would be impossible to name. It would be absolutely impossible, but there are there are so many people that are involved in the Ram Fam Discord and community that if it weren't for them, I couldn't do what I do. And even so much as recently, we all have our good days, we all have our bad days, and with my diagnosis, some days are a lot worse than others. And sometimes I struggle, but when I do, dude, these guys they pick me right back up. Whether it's on stream, whether it's in Discord, I'll get flooded with messages. Hey, brother, we love you. We got you. If you need anything, you message us. If we're on stream, they're in there. They are working it up. They're hyping it up. They're showing love. And when you got that support, dude, and it's not just one person, it's the whole damn community. It's everybody. Because it's like this community I'm so humble and blessed to have and be a part of, because they don't let anybody suffer, man. They know, like, if somebody's going through a tough time, everybody just floods that person with love and support. And to have a community like that, you you can't go wrong with it. And I can't pinpoint that to any one particular any individual. It's everyone, man. Every single person that is involved in my life has been a huge significant factor in being where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, man. A team will always do more than a single.
All day.
A team will always do more than a single. So, like, although it is nice to give out those individual thank yous and send, back in the day they used to send thank you,
Yeah.
thank you postage, um,
Yep.
like little cards in the mail and stuff like that to say thank you, because we didn't have or we may have had instant messenger, but ain't nobody checking that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
people were checking the mail still. Now it's the other way around. People checking the email more than they checking the real mail. So
That's
um,
true.
but like, but I mean, it's cool to thank the individual, but man, when you can feel the love in multiple directions,
Yeah.
it's just so lifting
Yeah.
for you personally. So I get it. We all have problems day to day. I have a back problem currently. I just got out of physical therapy before I made it to this show.
Yeah.
Right. I had to get a shot into my back because like I have like some tears in my lower like pieces of lower spine. I don't know all those medical terms. I don't know.
Yeah.
L4 or something like that. Both sides, whatever. But but we have real things going on. But when I come in here, sure, it ain't 8 million people. It ain't a crazy amount, but the amount of love that I get in just the small numbers that I have is
Yeah.
tremendous. The,
Absolutely.
the the ability to be able to have you come on here, you being who you are, just a normal damn person that has a good time enjoying video games and sharing that experience with others.
Yeah.
Simple. But you come over here, and I now meet a few other people. Brody now. I meet him,
Yep.
and he's a member. I just met him.
Yep.
But that's the
Exactly.
type of energy you brought into my space.
Yeah. That's
I
it,
mean,
man.
that says a lot.
That's it. And
that doesn't just say a lot. That says it all.
yeah. And you know, and what what you're seeing and what you're feeling, I'm blessed to see all the time. On stream in Discord, even when I'm not streaming, everybody's hanging out in Discord. Everybody's talking, and I've seen Seven in chat, and he's always in there. Seven Down's always in there, dude. And it's you have so many members that just in the mornings, there's dozens of good morning messages. At night, there's dozens of good night messages. During the day, people are talking about this, that, and the other, random things. People
And
are
not
posting
only are they
pictures.
talking to you, but they're talking to each other.
Exactly.
So you created a space. You started something. You put the flag in the ground. People came to the cookout. All you doing is grilling. They're out there talking. They're doing their thing. You just grilling. You left the party. I'm sure you're not always in that Discord.
Not always, no.
You don't know what they're saying to each other. I'm sure you got moderation set up in some way to assure that people are saying appropriate things. But if you create the right type of environment, it weeds itself out.
Oh yeah.
Somebody comes in with that foul, messy ass energy. Your Discord's gonna be like, we ain't having that shit. Get up out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky to have my chat be the same way. If somebody came in here being mad disrespectful, I don't even need a mod. The people in the chat will be like, get the hell up out of here. We ain't hearing that right now. Or they'll tell me, yo, this dude right here needs to go.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier is I've had guests on this show that I didn't even have to say anything. They were saying something disrespectful in my chat, and my own guest stood up for my channel, something that he got invited to. And I'm just like, dude, this is that energy. That's that shit I want. I want that stuff where when we have to be an asshole, it's for the right reason.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right. That was a fantastic subject. Very touching.
Oh, yeah.
Very touching, I may say. Now we got some of these quick hitter questions, and then I want to get you out of here. I've already had your time for about 2 hours. I've had a lot of these people in the chat's time for about 2 hours. I really appreciate all of you guys coming through here. I see a few people just pulled in recently. The Salt Mines, the Gina just pulled in as well. Good to see you guys. Thank you for coming through. 7 Down out here saying Ram Ham fam, loving it. Absolutely loving it. Brody popping up with another fantastic $2 super chat and saying, you effing rock, man, both of you.
Hey, love you, Brody.
That energy right there. That's the energy.
Absolutely.
And I'm not over here just advocating for positive. Never argue with anybody. That's unrealistic. We can argue. Sure. People can argue, but keep it civil. That's all I ask. You ain't. Exactly. I mean, nobody's mamas need to be brought into this.
Right.
Right. I mean, hey, if you want to tell me that your Xbox sucks, I really enjoy my PlayStation. Don't get mad when I ask you why.
Right.
You don't start, talking about my brother and everything. No, keep it on topic. Let's get to the bottom of this, just so we can agree to disagree and go our separate ways.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving forward. Thank you so much, Brody. I appreciate that $2 super chat. That was awesome. I want to know from you, Mr. Ramrod, what genre of video games do you hate? Do you hate? So like which one? Like, if I were to be like a Jehovah's Witness of video games, and I knocked on your door and I said, I got this game, what game are you slamming the dough in my face and telling me no solicited?
Well, hopefully everyone in chat doesn't hate me for this, but I can't do real time strategy. I can't. I,
RTS.
I can't. I've tried, and I have a few buddies that love them. I just can't, dude. I don't know if I just don't have the patience for it, or if I just get too bored of it. I cannot do RTS.
You don't want to do 8 million clicks.
No, I just can't do it.
For sure. Okay, that was a quick answer. I'm surprised. RTS is so what the man said is no Ages of Empire. Just no Starfleet commands.
Yep,
No
can't do it.
StarCraft is off the board, I believe. Yeah,
Can't do
okay.
it.
Fair enough. All right. G Dog says this is exactly why I love being in this community. I like how welcoming and great it is. Fantastic. And then Blind Giant says this episode has been fire.
Yeah, because they're awesome, dude. G Dog's been around a long time too. G Dog's one of the OGs.
What the disrespect coming out of nowhere from Ray G saying Dynasty Warriors shouldn't be called a video game. I don't know where that came from, but damn, that was cold.
I mean, to their credit, if you've played one, you've played them all. I mean, they're pretty much all the same.
They are very similar. You can rack up 1K kills in any of those games and still fail the mission.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's see. Okay, moving on to the next question. I wanted to ask you, what is the best 3 games that you've played within the last year?
Ooh, the last year. Okay. One of them is going to be Hogwarts Legacy. I love that game. I played Hogwarts a lot. Absolutely loved that game. Man, in the past year, I would say it's definitely been Hogwarts has probably been my favorite that I've played. But apart
Delta
from
just pulled up.
Yeah, Delta's an OG too. Delta's been around for a long time.
Continue.
Other than Hogwarts, I don't know that I've really played a single player story game that's really just got me this year. It's been more or less just hanging out with the community and playing.
I said best 3 games. I didn't say new games. I said best 3 games that you played in the last year.
Okay. Well, then it would be Hogwarts, and very recently I dropped back into Battlefield 2042, and have really been enjoying it the past week.
It's like crispy now. It is a crispy game now.
I just dropped back into it. And then honestly, I've had a lot of fun playing Diablo 4. I'm a Diablo noob. I've never played 1, 2, and 3. But I played 4 with Delta and Killgage and some other cats, and I'm really digging 4. That's probably my 3 right now.
Okay. Delta says Diablo for him. A G-Dog says Spider-Man is in my top 3. Brody says, but Lord, he said Warhammer first, and then he says, but Lord of the Rings, and Battlefield. I think that's Battlefield. ME2, BFME2. I'm having trouble with that acronym. Oh man, he said is my favorite RTS. So he's talking about an RTS game. Okay. I'm bad with RTS games, just like Ramrod. I don't really rock.
Yeah.
Some of them are fun, and I got addicted to Age of Empires for 13 hours straight.
Oh wow.
But once I was done, I've yet to come back. I bet you if I still downloaded it on my PC and I bet it's going to lead me off where I left off, but I wouldn't know a button anymore
Yeah,
because I played it
exactly.
for 13 hours and then I got disgusted with myself because I played it for that long. And then the next day when I seen the game still on there, I was like, get this out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I can't keep doing that. This is that's poison. Like, get it out of here. All right. So just a couple more of these questions. The next one of my favorite questions. It is, what is your favorite studio? And you guys in the chat can participate in this. What is your
Ooh.
favorite studio and what game best represents that studio?
Oh my gracious. Man, that is tough.
It is.
That
I love
is
it though.
tough. That's probably the hardest question I've ever got. Um,
One
I'm
of my
gonna
favorites
say,
is Midway NFL Blitz.
ooh, NFL Blitz was fun. Oh, that was a fun game. I I'm going to say Naughty Dog, and I'm going to say the very first Uncharted game.
The first one? Whoa,
Yep.
nobody says that's their favorite. That's nuts. I
Yep.
love the individualism from you.
And
I
I
love
think
it.
I think it's the first one because the story hooked me, dude. The story
Wow.
got me, and I was ready for the next Uncharted game, but the story of the first one, it got me.
It's good.
It is
It's
very
good.
good.
The first one's good. Everyone talks about the second one because goodness gracious, the train scene
Yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
And two,
It's
three,
iconic, really.
three was kind of weird, especially with the mirages that you seen
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And I wasn't really a big fan of the scenery that much, to be honest, of
yeah,
that one.
same.
It was just too yellow for me everywhere. And
Yeah,
it was weird that I was like drugged.
yeah,
Like I was just like,
yeah,
dude, what the heck is going on? Why am I on drugs? But the fourth one also amazing. And
yeah.
then did you play it remastered
No,
or
not
not
remastered.
or the remake thing that they did for Uncharted 4 and Legacy of Thieves?
Mm-mm. But I did play was Legacy of Thieves or Lost Legacy or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's like Lost Legacy or something like that. The one with the two ladies.
Yeah, I did
Right.
play it. It was pretty good too.
Right. No, it was a good game for sure. It was definitely like a side story in
Yeah,
comparison of the rest, but it was still a good game. I'm telling you, bro, like if you ever get the chance, play the remaster, remake, or whatever you want to call it, the pretty version of, of Uncharted 4 on the PS5, bro. It is ridiculous. It is
I'll
really
have to play
nice.
it.
It's a great game. But the thing is, that's one of the longest, if not the longest, Uncharted one. So I could
Yeah,
see where there'd be like a little pause, especially with this type of year of video games coming out,
yeah,
where it just feels like, especially if you're a creator and you like to show people games and you get game codes and stuff like that, this year is a freaking mess.
yeah,
It
for
is.
sure.
Like I don't know how many people like Hogwarts Legacy, a lot of people forgot about already because there's so many other great games. Zelda, as great of a game as that is, bro, I've never
Yeah,
seen Zelda ride the bench
I know.
in the
I
year,
know.
but for some people it is.
Yep.
For because there's just Diablo as well. There's, about to be Starfield. There's going to be a new Forza. There's about to be Spider-Man. There was just a Final Fantasy. It's just like, dude, like run for
Constantly.
cover. It is
Yeah.
freaking it is freaking thundering outside.
Yeah, dude.
It's powerful. But anyways, what game, and that kind of leads me into the next question. That's perfect. So you said Naughty Dog in the first Uncharted was your favorite. What was the best representation of your favorite studio, right?
Yeah.
All right. So as I was just talking about all these new games, I wanted to know what your most anticipated games are, and you can just rattle them off. I'm not going to give you any sort of like only 3 or anything like that. I want you just to rattle off some games that are in your mind that you just can't wait for.
Well, Spider-Man 2 is going to be fantastic. I feel that Spider-Man 2 is going to be great when it launches, and the same thing for Final Fantasy 7, the Part 2 coming out. I'm super stoked about that. Starfield is going to be great. I really think it's going to be a fantastic game, and even though it's way off in the distance, Elder Scrolls 6, when that finally launches, that's going to be a game changer. I think. I really do.
You leaped in the clouds for that one. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, because it'll be who knows how long, honestly. But I'm also super stoked about the Silent Hill 2 remake next year. That is a game that I will buy on day one because that is my favorite horror game ever created. But that's what I'm looking forward to most right now.
Man, some fantastic games. Blind Giant said Remnant for him. Looking forward to that. Ray Chi, I think, was saying Rayman 4. Delta says Payday 3. The Gina says Rare. So he's talking about the last question with the favorite studio. He says Rare, Blast Corps. They can make any concept a great game. I mean, Rare is fantastic. Seeing what they did with Sea of Thieves, it's just. I mean, when I first seen Sea of Thieves, I was like, "Get the hell out of here!"
Yeah, that was me too.
It ended up blowing up, and I'm just sitting here like, "Why is this game blowing up? This is silly." And then I got invited to play with a couple people, and I'm over here having a crazy good time, and it's just,
yep,
yeah. That game, don't let the art style fool you. That game is dope. And then the water is just undefeated. The water is undefeated in that game. It looks so
best water
clean.
in any video game for sure.
It's undefeated. Let's see. This is my next last hard question that I know of. If you were to go back, or not even go back, if you were just to go out now and revive 2 dead IPs, what 2 games would you go grab and make them into a AAA game and play it?
Wow. Oh my gracious, dude. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's been so many over the years that. So one that comes to mind, because it's so sentimental. I would love to do a full-fledged remake of 007 GoldenEye. Like I'm talking, just like a whole remake, but keep all the core components there. That
like
made
the story bits and everything.
Yeah, just
you want to jump off the dam and everything like that. Yep.
Yep. Keep everything that made it revolutionary back then, but just remake it because that game was so good. It was so good back then. Even still fun to kind of mess around and play on sometimes now. But another one, and I guess it's kind of maybe not as popular, but I would love to kind of revitalize the F-Zero franchise because there's not really been like a good one in a really, really long time. And I think Nintendo's kind of missing an opportunity because that's a franchise that a lot of people love. And if they would just actually revive it, it would be a good thing for them. Um, but that'd be two IPs that I would love to see just totally come back.
That's awesome. No, those are some really good picks. I especially loved the first one that you picked.
Yeah,
Mm,
GoldenEye would
mm.
be so amazing remade.
Oh man, replaying like the bunker
Yes.
would be nuts,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and that last level, replaying that last level with the cranes or whatever that thing is that you're in the sky,
Yes.
dude, that would be crazy. Seeing all of, oh man, that level freaked you out because you were always scared that you're gonna fall off.
Yep.
Um, fantastic. Seven down says yes, GoldenEye. The Gina says the movies, an old Lionhead game, and Soul Reaver's Legacy of Kain. Fantastic
Ooh,
picks,
yeah.
100%. Um, G Dog says Titanfall 2 for sure. I especially want multiplayer service picks so console players can play. Um, Back from the Dead said MK1. What are you talking about? What are you saying? And Delta comes through saying, "I would love to see another Star Wars Battlefront game." And yeah,
Oh,
and do it right.
yeah.
I mean, the last one, it's not bad, but the way they rolled it out kind of ruined the game for everybody.
Yeah.
Just you rolled it out so, and it was so,
Microtransactions.
yeah, it was so cringe that like just I'm just like picturing Denzel Washington slamming the door. Just like
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. I like opened the door, seeing that, and just slammed it. I was like, no thanks, I'm good. Oh man. Okay. Back from the Dead said looking forward to MK1. So it's like
Okay.
one of his dreams came true. Got it. All right. So now the last two questions that I like to smush into a burger of one question. And that question is A, what frustrates you in gaming, if anything at all? And this could be any facet of gaming. And the way I like to describe that is it can be community, it can be development, it could be platforms, it could be whatever. And then the second half of the question is the flip to that question being, what would be a dream come true? So let's go on ahead and answer the first half of it. What frustrates you in gaming as a whole?
I think on the developmental side, it's greed. You know, a lot of times on the developmental side of games, it's all about, microtransactions or any way to siphon more money from the consumer that already is buying the game. But then on top of that, if you want certain features, functions, skins, or cosmetics or items, you have to pay more and more and more money. And it's kind of like, okay, you're siphoning tons of money from the consumer. You don't really need to do all that. So development, it's just the greed aspect that really irritates me the most. And then on like a gaming community front, it's always the negativity, the toxicity that comes with the community is so it steers people away a lot of times, and that is the thing that bothers me the most, especially as a content creator and streamer, just having to deal with that facet of um what we do is having to deal with people like that.
No, absolutely. It makes it hard for you as a creator that's trying to be seen to be put in the category as somebody to be taken serious.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when you go scrolling on like Facebook or Twitter, and there's somebody that's thinking about getting in the game and they click on a video and it's just trash. It's just like
Yeah.
disrespectful, trash or whatnot. And then when they go to hit back, there's your video right under theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't even want to click on your video. In fact, they're going to leave YouTube and
Yep.
maybe come back and watch something else later. But that moment right there was soured.
Yep.
So I 100% see exactly what you're saying. Let's see. Before we head into the second half of the question, the Gina in the chat says, bloat in games, bloat in games. Not everyone needs to be. Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree with this. He says not every game needs to be 40 to 60 hours. Give some sweet 8 to 12 hours, tight, polished games, not 40 to 60 hour buggy messes at launch. I
agree.
100% agree with that. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm loving so much about running through the Max Payne series again. No fluff. Go in that door and kill everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. There isn't a million collectibles to try to get some crazy achievement that 0.52 people are gonna freaking get.
Exactly.
You know, just like give me the achievement that says I passed I finished the level or something like that. Like not every single one of these games, and I know there is some games that still do that, right? But it's just very far and few between. There was a big drop off of that from the PS3 360 generation to the PS4 Xbox One generation. Things became not only more open world, but also just diluted with just fetch quests, just things that you are doing to get very little out of it. I spend 20 hours looking for every Lilith statue or something like that to get a 10 achievement gamer score. Like, come on, man. Like,
exactly.
Like, some of that stuff just feels like you see the achievement go off and you're like, oh, yeah. And then you look to see what the score is and it's like 5. And you're like, oh, fuck. It's like, I did all that for 5 achievement points. God damn, that was foul. That took an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, fantastic. Great point. Great point, brother. All right, and then the bottom half of that question was, what would be a dream come true for you in gaming?
You know, a dream come true for me would be to be able to do this full time. You know, to be able to, stream and create content and continue to grow the community on every level, not just necessarily streaming platforms, but in every aspect of what we do, and be able to create a full-time community and a full-time streaming and content creation career is ultimate goal for me. That's what I would love to do more than anything.
That is pretty phenomenal, but I'm sorry if you see me cracking up right there, because a name that I haven't seen and maybe you recognized it popped in. Wicked Nasty Gaming.
Hey, that's another one. Ram fam right there, baby. Wicked's awesome.
I love that name. That's so good. Wicked Nasty Gaming. Oh man.
Yeah, Wicked's good people too, man.
Like it's just an uncomfortable enough name to be like, what is that? But interesting enough to be like, I'm gonna click on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what kind of gaming are you doing?
Love it. That was probably Wicked's mindset all along, wasn't it? I
agree. I 100% agree. I bet it was that. But brother Ramrod, we finally reached, after two and a half plus hours. We finally reached the end of the show, man. And I tell you, this was one for the books. This was one of my favorite episodes that I did, just because of the realness that kind of elated off of everything, and just a genuine conversation. Like I said, I love it when I'm not so tied down to my questions. I can just move around. Sure, I got questions. Sure, I'll hit some of them, but it's not the focus. The focus is the moment and the relationship building. So like, I feel like that was nailed today. I absolutely had a great time. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
being here, brother. Um, I'm gonna ask you to do it again, just like you did it at the beginning of the show. Please let everybody know where they can find you. As I said earlier, y'all, in case you guys don't like to hear it and remember it, I have his stuff in the description. But please let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. We stream on Kick a lot now, almost daily. I also have Twitch and YouTube, as well as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's Ramrod Jenkins on everything. But I would love, man, I would love to see people come by and hang out on stream with us. You can see the love and the encouragement and support firsthand. We are super welcoming and we just like to have a good time, man. So if everybody's wanting some supportive and positivity and just good fun, come hang out with us, man. It's what we're all about.
Absolutely, man. It has been 100% a pleasure having you here today. Learned about a good person. He brought dope people over here that I get to, check out and see. And I'm not, like I said, I'm interested to see what's so wicked nasty about this game. So I'm just, I mean, I'm a little interested now. The word has been spread.
Oh yeah.
but anyways, man, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, chat, for being here, being 7 down with your boy today, Ham Solo. I like that. I just had to use your name right there. I just thought it was pretty dope.
Absolutely, dude.
But thank you so much, everybody that came through. Make sure that you hit that like button if you're new. Whether you're in the chat or not, you're always welcome to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you come back, whether you're participating in the chat or not. It doesn't matter. As long as you're here and you're having a good time, I'm having a good time having you here. Thank you so much. Blind Giant with a quick super chat saying, great show, brothers. Absolutely.
Hey.
Thank you so much, everybody that did the super chat. Thank you to those new members that recently joined earlier. That was pretty dang phenomenal. That being Boogeyman and Brody out here. Fantastic, y'all. Remember, I have a show tomorrow. I do a panel show to those of you that are new here and don't know. It's going to be me, my buddy that helps me run this channel, Loke. Matt Likes Games, Cozy Beluga, and I believe we have a guest that hasn't been announced quite yet, but I'm excited for. So if you want to see more of me, I got more content coming. I do content during the week and then hang out with my family on the weekends. So thank you guys so much for coming out here. And one last thing before we get up out of here, Ramrod, I want you to tell me how you would describe gaming in just 3 words.
3 words. Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Fun, love, and passion.
Fun, love, and passion. I absolutely love it. Thank you guys so much for coming through to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here on the TSWS YouTube channel. And I'm always here to let you know to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.